In this video we'll be taking a look at Bourneville, which is the rather unique village in southwest Birmingham, famous of course for being home to the Cadbury's chocolate factory. Bourneville itself was actually built as really a community for the workers of the Cadbury factory, and we'll come on to that a little bit more in a moment or two. Now the factory itself has expanded a lot over the years. It was actually moved from the centre of Birmingham due to the rapid expansion of the company, and this site was chosen because it is very close to a railway line and a canal, so it was very handy for bringing in the ingredients that were required to actually make the tons of chocolate that were produced on a daily basis here. Now this building you're seeing here is currently the UK headquarters for Cadbury's, and the company of course was taken over a few years ago by the American company Kraft. Now the bit in the middle of the building here is quite new, and it was actually built after the demolition of a theatre that was actually in the middle of this, that was primarily for the Cadbury workers, and that was closed down and converted into these offices, which was a bit of a controversial thing. Also, just a little bit further down the road, in the middle of all this sprawl of buildings that are actually used for the factory, is this, which is a swimming bath that was built around 1900. And I'm not quite sure if this is still used for the purpose it was actually built for, but it's still there, and it's quite a unique building architecturally. Now at the other end of the headquarters building is the staff canteen, which is still in use today and always has been the staff canteen, and it overlooks a green area which is used for sporting events, cricket and football mainly from what I can tell, and is also used for the Bourneville Village Festival, which takes place every summer. And that's the terrace there, which in previous years I've seen photographs of the staff sitting on that terrace eating their breakfast. Now this is Birdcage Walk, which is a walkway that is publicly accessible that runs through the middle of the factory site. It is pretty quiet around here these days, I've got to say. This was filmed on a Sunday, admittedly, but even in the week, if you came down here, you would find it would be pretty well like this as well. I think automation has taken over massively, so there aren't as many staff at this factory as there used to be. As you get to the other end of Birdcage Walk, you will see two ways to go. If you bear left and cross over, it'll take you into the middle of the village itself. If you go around the corner to the right, it takes you into the car park of Cadbury World, which is of course a famous tourist attraction that explains the history of Cadbury's, and more importantly also explains the history of chocolate itself and where the origins of chocolate are. It's still a very busy tourist attraction to this day and brings in a lot of visitors to the area. Now this is Bourneville village itself, with its shops overlooking the green. It really does have a villagey feel even to this day. Now this village and all the homes that are in the immediate area, and for at least a couple of miles in certain directions, were all built by the Cadbury family. Now they were a family of Quakers, and George Cadbury in particular was the man who came up with the concept of the village and having this as a place for the workers to live near to their workplace. And being a Quaker family, they had certain rules they stipulated, and the most important one being the lack of alcohol in Bourneville, which still stands today. So it is not allowed to have an alcohol license. You cannot open a shop and sell alcohol within a certain distance of the village, and the village itself of course. Now this is the Quaker meeting house that overlooks the village green, and there is a very unique feature here, and that is on the right hand side there is this bust of George Cadbury himself. And as well as this, I didn't realise this until recently, that the ashes of George Cadbury are buried below the bust. So he really is still very much part of the village that he sought to create. And he overlooks the village green, so it's all very appropriate that he's there in that particular place, in that position. So I think Bourneville is pretty unique in terms of suburbs. There aren't many like this that I can think of that actually grew from any kind of similar origins, particularly. Certainly not in this part of the world. And I would say it's probably the nicest suburb of Birmingham. But that's just a personal opinion. It's certainly unique, and if ever you are in Birmingham, it's worth coming and having a little wander around the village itself, and maybe going to Cadbury World and just seeing everything there is to see here. It certainly still has a villagey feel, even though there is urban sprawl all around it, practically, as Birmingham has expanded over the years. So that was just a quick whistle-stop tour of the centre of Bourneville itself. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you next time on the next video.